Today is Greek Independence Day, and I am Greek, and I'm wearing my blue, and that's all I'll say about that. But uh, we're celebrating today. So today in our Tech Talk, we have Matt Johnson from SFREP. He is the Director of Communications for them, also training director, and has been with them, 20 years and knows a lot about appraisal software, the industry, and all of the things that appraisers deal with when it comes to their software. And he's going to show us their latest and greatest, the 3.6, which has already been approved by Fannie. So they've gone through the full vetting process. Right, Matt?
Correct.
Correct. So now, Matt, we're all waiting to be dazzled.
Dazzled.
Now, if you have questions, everyone, feel free to raise your hand, and we'll take them as they come. We like this to be conversational.
Well, happy Greek Independence Day.
Yeah.
Um,
Whoppa.
I'm British, so it's the most boring thing you can do. But um, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I am down in Charlotte, North Carolina, so hello to everyone up in the Northeast. I love Boston, Vermont. My ex-wife went to college in Vermont, and our chief tester, is from Vermont. So actually, she's from Massachusetts, but went to school in Vermont. So while we are a Carolina-based company, we do have some roots up in New England. So always good to see you guys. A little bit about our company first. We were founded in 1983. We are the second oldest of the software vendors in this market, in this space. We are 1 month younger than ACI. ACI started 1 month before us, I believe, in 1983. So we've been at this for a very long time. We pioneered DOS appraising software, and we've been around through the 90s. We switched to Windows in the early 2000s. We switched to 32-bit Windows. And then in 2019, we rewrote our software from the ground up, not using any old code, right before the pandemic. And one of the things that allowed us to do was we were able to actually incorporate the UAD 3.6 into our existing software. And that's important because what it is going to do is it allows us to be able to present the UAD 3.6 in a pretty novel way, basically in the way that you guys have been filling out appraisals for decades. It's called What You See Is What You Get, or WYSIWYG, where you're basically filling out a graphical representation of the printed form. And we have the older UAD 2.6 and all of the non-lender forms. Some people call them GP forms. We call them non-lender forms. And then we have all those bank forms and old forms all in the same software. So you don't have to, purchase our software and then maintain some old software. Every single form that is used in this industry is available to you in Appraise It Pro from day one.
That's a really good point. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, look, we are all friends in this industry. I'm friends with Joel Baker over at Alamode. I'm friends with, Patty and over at Bradford. I'm friends with Jeff Bradford. We all talk. We all go out to eat during when we go to these shows. The ACT show is coming up in Seattle. We're gonna all go out to eat and ham it up and have beers. We're just friendly competitors, and I will tell you what the other software vendors are doing in this presentation. What I do want you guys to understand is when you are going to be moving over to UAD 3.6, there is going to be a natural break that you're going to be making with your old software and your old way of doing things. You're going to be making a break with all of your old data that is UAD 2.6 formatted data, with all of those cryptic abbreviations that everybody hated when they came out. And thus you're going to be making a natural break with your software. So if you don't love the software that you have right now, I do encourage everyone to go out and look at what everyone else is doing. Obviously, I want you to look at what we're doing, But I want you to also look at what Alamode's doing. I want you to look at what ACI is doing. I want you to look at what Bradford's doing. I want you to look at what Ivory's doing and all the other startups that are out there. Find somebody who's doing it the way you want to do it and give them a shot, because now is the time for you to be able to switch software vendors. Hopefully you will come in and talk to us. I would love for you to, but hey, if we're not the right one, hopefully you're going to find somebody that is. So a couple of things. I don't think that any other software vendors will do this for you, but I'm going to give you my direct contact information. Feel free to write it down. I'll show it to you at the end as well. My direct email is matt@sfrep.com. You can tell we're a small company because it's all of our email addresses are our first names at sfrep.com. So matt@sfrep.com. You can also call me, although I would prefer you text, because if you call me, I'm probably going to be busy and I'm not going to answer the phone. But if you text me, I often will reply to my texts and check them even after hours and on weekends. That number is area code 828-919-9082, 828-919-9082. We have a fancy internet-based phone system that allows us to accept text messages, and it comes to my desktop, and it comes to my laptop, and it comes to my phone. So I highly encourage you to contact me if you have any questions. I also want to have you guys take a visit after this webinar, or after this meeting, to visit us on all of our socials. We're at SFREP. So we're on X, Blue Sky, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, everywhere we are at SFREP. SFREP.com, of course, is our website. And we do all of our training videos and webinars, live webinars on YouTube, so that you don't have to sign up for them in order to attend. So you don't even have to be a customer of ours. If you just kind of want to see what UAD 3.6 is all about, you can go to our YouTube page. It's youtube.com/SFREP. Click on live and you'll be able to see all of our previous webinars that we have done. And finally, I do want you to give us a call if you like what you see today. I'll go over all of these later on. 800-644-4051, or you can contact us at sales@sfrep.com. We do offer our software completely free, no strings attached, for 6 whole months. We don't even require a credit card of you. You can sign up for our demo and get it completely free and usable for 6 months at no cost. At the end of that 6-month period, if you decide that you want to jump on board with us, we would be amazed, and it would be great. We'd love to have you. If you decide that we're not right for you, then we'll shake hands virtually and you will part ways. No hard feelings, and you can swing back by and check it out later on if you'd like. We also don't do yearly contracts, and we bill you monthly. You can pay a year in advance if you wish, but you don't have to. And the other thing is, the way that we license our software is to the individual signing appraiser. So if you've got 2 signing appraisers in your office, but you've got 3 office workers and maybe a trainee, you only have to buy 2 copies. You can install it on as many computers as you want. We don't charge for office workers. We don't charge for trainees. So that's all of the money stuff. We get that out of the way first. So what I want to show you is our software, which is Appraise-It Pro. It is 64-bit. It runs on ARM-based processors. We support running it on a Mac. So if you have a modern Mac and you want to run our software, you most certainly can do that. It will require the installation and setup of Parallels. The Geek Squad at Best Buy or the Apple Store can do that for you. It's not very expensive and it's not hard to do. They'll set that up for you, and then you can run Appraise-It Pro on a Mac side by side with your other software, and our tech support fully supports that. You're not going to call and we're going to see you're on a Mac and say, nope, sorry, we're not going to help you. And by the way, our tech support is 7 days a week. We don't do it 24 hours a day, but it is 7 days a week. All of you guys are on the East Coast, so we run from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the East Coast. We are also on the East Coast. Okay, so let's take a look at our software. That's why we're here. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes here. First of all, when you open up the software, you are going to initially see that it looks very similar to Microsoft Office, and that is not a mistake. We designed and programmed Appraise-It Pro in the same development environment that Microsoft uses for Microsoft Office and a lot of its other software. We're fully Windows 11 compatible. And we are Windows certified, and we use the Microsoft development environment. We took a lot of design cues from Microsoft Office. So if you are familiar with Office, you will be very much at home in Appraise It Pro. When you first start the program, you're in an area that Microsoft likes to call the backstage. I guess they're a bunch of theater geeks. So they use that terminology. So they call this the backstage. And then if I come up here to this little arrow in the upper left-hand corner, this is the editing area. For Appraise It Pro, I don't have a report open at the moment, but they call this the front stage. So if we go back over here to the backstage essentially is like a file menu in any other program. So you can even see that the file menu up here at the top is highlighted being black with white text. If I click on it, it takes me back here to this backstage area. Here, you're at the welcome screen. This is just a place where we're going to put some stuff to communicate with you and let you know what's going on. That way we don't have to send you an email. We don't have to call you. You don't have to call us. Anything important, we'll put it here. We don't update this super frequently. You can see the last time we updated it was on the 8th of this month, and then previous to that was back in January. New is the important part of our software. This is where you are going to start new reports. Now, keep in mind, until September, you're going to probably be doing a lot of UAD 2.6 reports. That's the current UAD, in addition to doing UAD 3.6 reports. Those are going to start to get sprinkled in more commonly. Until around September, you'll be doing both. Now, the drop dead date on all of this for us to start doing UAD 3.6 only is in November. However, they want all of the lenders and AMCs to stop issuing UAD 2.6 reports around mid-September. Now, this is what they're saying. I will tell you that they are very, very adamant in keeping up on these timelines. I know a lot of people are like, they're just going to delay this. I'm not going to worry about it. I would be worried. They are drop dead serious that they are going to stick to these timelines. So this summer, the end of the summer, you can expect to start seeing pretty much predominantly all UAD 3.6 reports. So now's the time to start getting familiar with it and start accepting some of these reports. In Appraise It Pro, we have a UAD 2.6 section here. So there's your 1004, your 1073 condo form, your 1075, your 2055. All of your UAD 2.6 reports, all of your non-lender stuff, all of your old like HUD and FHA and GreenLink forms, all that stuff is in here. In addition, we also have the UAD 3.6, which is in what we call public beta. That's a public test. So it's not fully fleshed out yet, but, and this really applies to all the software out there, you can do a UAD 3.6 report right now, but it's going to be more of a manual affair than it will be when we get into the summer and even into the fall, when by then we will have everything connected in and everything will be more spit and polish. But for right now, it's a little bit of a manual effort, okay? And I'll show you how that works. It's manual in the way that a lot of those helper applications that you might use, like Spark or Data Master, things like that, are not yet connected in. They are working on those connections, and they should hopefully by summer all be connected into Appraise It Pro, connected into a la mode, connected into Bradford, whoever you may be using. Now you'll notice, now for those of you who don't know, there are 3 report types for UAD 3.6. There is the completion report, there is the update report, and then there's the URAR. That's it. There's 3 reports. And mostly you're going to be using the URAR. And it is the report to rule all future reports. And so there's one report type. They don't want you to call it a form because it's not technically a form. It's a report type. And that report type will change and morph into what you need it to be as you start filling it out. So real quick, though, I just want to show you that I can open up a UAD 2.6 report. This is going to look very similar to ACI. It's going to look very similar to WinTotal. It's going to look very similar to ClickForms, whatever you may use. We've all kind of gotten this down pat. You're filling out a digital version of the report, typing things in there. But of course, with UAD 2.6, when you're filling things out, you have to have this little UAD helper over here in the right hand. In our software, it's in the lower right hand corner to aid you in filling things out. Although we do allow you to type directly into the field if you already know what the formatting is. But I'm going to close out of that. And we are going to open up a UAD 3.6 report since that is why we are here. So we're going to go ahead and open that up. And by the way, I want to point this out. If I highlight this by just single clicking on it over here on the right hand side, notice that we have templates. Certain software, I know that ACI and Bradford specifically are not going to let you do templates. We will let you do templates and you can clone reports. So you can basically fill out and write a UAD 3.6 report in the same way that you've been writing them for decades in whatever software you've been using. And here is a UAD 3.6 report. Looks very similar to the way we present the UAD 2.6 report to you. And for the most part, this is a digital version of what gets printed out for the end user of the report, whether that is a human being at the bank, a human being at the AMC, or a human being that is buying or selling the house. Now, keep in mind, a lot of appraisers are going down conspiracy theory roads saying, hey, the whole point of this is they want to automate all this stuff and get rid of appraisers. That's not what this is about. That is not going to happen. And I'll tell you right now, as somebody who has recently bought and sold a house, I would not stand for that. We want human beings making these decisions about the value of a property. What this is all about is making it easier for computers to read the report and make certain decisions about that report so that they can streamline the process over at the GSEs and the banks too. They're going to be processing the digital version of this. So that's kind of what this is about. Keep in mind, UAD 3.6 was really developed before generative AI was a thing. So before ChatGPT and Claude and all these other AIs were really a thing. So it's designed in that pre-AI world using XML so that computers can more easily read the actual report. Now you could just use AI to read through the report and make decisions, but this was all developed in 2024, 2025, before AI was really exploding onto the scene. So the layout of all of this, on the left-hand side, you have the report panel. That is going to be your table of contents for the report. It is important to know that the GSEs do not let you change the order of the pages in the report. This is all set in stone. They always want the site to be the third thing in the report. The GSEs want a UAD 3.6 report to be exactly the same as any other UAD 3.6 report. You should not be able to tell what software created it. You should not be able to tell who created it. It will always be the same order. And honestly, this order is what's best for the reader of the report, not necessarily what's best for you as the writer of the report. So you may find yourself jumping around when you are jumping around in these different pages when you're actually writing the report. And we allow you to do that. You start on assignment information. You're probably going to go to subject property next. I'll open that up for you. You can see it opens up in a tabbed interface up here at the top. You'll fill this out. Then you might go to site, or you might want to jump over to market. You might want to go to evaluation. You might want to start doing things about the dwellings or the sketch. You are free to move around at your discretion. We'll come back to this. This is the validator panel. The validator is running in the background as you're creating the report, as you're writing the report. It's checking things like spelling, formatting, making sure that you have NC or you have MA or you have VT for the actual state, and you don't have fat fingers and say BC or something like that. And then at the end of your report, when you're pretty much done with it, you can click on this validate button and it will run a comprehensive validation against the GSE rules to make sure that everything is copacetic. We will also run a validation and send your report up to the GSE servers before we create the UAD 3.6 container, which we'll go over here in a little while. We will check it against the servers set up by Fannie and Freddie so that you can make sure that your report is going to be good to go before you ever send it. So that should cut down tremendously on things getting kicked back to you and having to make little changes and all that. Over here on the right-hand side is your responses. We call them common responses or just responses. Some people call them quick quick responses, quick links, things like that. They're pretty much the same in every software. So I have a bunch of them set up for City here. There's a couple ways you can use these. You can just come over here and double click and it'll fill in Charlotte for me. I can also stay on the keyboard, hit F2, and then select it from a list. Also, unique to our software, you can assign it to an F key on your keyboard. So I have assigned Charlotte to F4. So when I'm over here in this field, I can just hit the F4 key on my keyboard and it's going to put Charlotte in there for me. Or you can do what I usually do, which is just start typing it, CHA, and it knows I mean Charlotte. And then I can hit tab. Here's the cool thing. If you set up a lot of responses, you can burn through this super fast. You just start typing the first few letters, hit tab, first few letters, hit tab. You can even do responses that are 4, 5, 6 paragraphs in length if you want to. The way you would set something like this up is, let's say I wanted to do Springfield as a response. I can go ahead and come over here and click on manage responses. I can give it a title, but that's really only for if you're doing a couple of paragraphs or a couple of sentences when you need to kind of summarize it into a title. But if it's just a one-word response, you don't have to do that. I could assign it to an F key if I want, but I'm just going to keep Springfield in there, click on save, close, and now Springfield is in the list for me.
Hey, Matt, we had a quick question. Stacy Chandler, would you unmute?
Hello, Stacy.
Hi.
You asked something about a mobile application. Could you explain what you're asking?
Yeah, do you offer a mobile part of this, meaning data collection out in the field on your phone or your iPad?
Yep. So we offer 4 different ways for you to do the field inspection. So for everybody else, I'm going to take a detour here real quick. Okay. So we offer 4 different ways to do this. First, we are going to have, and we already have integrated with an app called instaplan.ai. If you want more information on it, that's the actual web address, instaplan.ai. It is the not as cheap solution, but the really slick, cool, save you a lot of time solution. It's going to run you about $10 per appraisal. But what it does is if you have an iPhone Pro, so this is an iPhone 16 Pro, or if you have an iPad Pro, you can use the LiDAR sensor on the iPhone, which is that dot right there is the LiDAR sensor. And what LiDAR is, you can think of it as light-based radar. It's used to catch speeders, but it's also used by the iPhone to project a infrared laser dot pattern on the room. And then the iPhone is able to, at the speed of light, time how long it takes for it to fire the laser out, dot out, and for it to come back. And so it knows how far away things are around it. Plus, it knows using its gyroscope and a accelerometer, a couple other sensors, it knows where it is in space. So as you walk through the home, you can use Instaplan just to show it all the walls as you walk through the home. You don't have to stand in the middle of the room, just keep walking, and it's going to do all the measuring for you, and it's going to build a 3-dimensional sketch of the property for you. It'll know when it encounters things like closet doors. It'll know when it encounters bed and furniture and all this other stuff. It'll know to delete that from the actual sketch. Plus, as you are walking through, you can actually press a button to capture a photo. So you can do your photos while you're actually auto sketching the room. Like I said, it is not the cheapest, but it is definitely the slickest, and you should try it out, at least if you do one of their training courses at McKenna. McKenna is the company that makes it. They'll give you a full week of unlimited use, and you can try it out on your own home and see how it works. I think you'll find that it will save you a lot of money. It also does data collection, and it does photo management. Now, it is only working for UAD 2.6 right now. It will be ready for UAD 3.6 by the end of April. So remember I said 4, that's 1. 2 is going to be a second app that we're going to be integrating with from the folks at Apex. We're designing it with them. It is called Apex Portal. It's going to be more of a traditional app experience. That app will work on iOS, iPad OS. It'll work on Android. It'll work on Chromebooks, and it'll work on Windows. It'll work on anything. That you can use to do your sketch back at the office if you wish. You can also use it to do a sketch in the field. You can also use it to do all of your data collection, and you can do your photo management with it as well. We anticipate that being available end of spring into the summer at some point. They're a little bit behind. Number three is we actually allow you, and I am going to close out of this real quick so I can show you guys this. You may have noticed that we had three other reports here. We just launched these about 2 weeks ago. We have the Digital Property Data Collection Report. The Digital Property Data Collection Report is essentially a UAD 3.6 report with everything that doesn't pertain to the field inspection stripped out of it. So one of the things that we've noticed in the early days is that people have been taking their laptop, especially if they have like a Surface tablet, to the inspection and kind of setting up shop on the countertop, kind of like how home inspectors do, and then filling out their information in the field on the full version of Appraise It Pro. So that's what this is. This is just the dynamic report with only the stuff that you're going to be collecting in the field as part of it. And then when you're done filling this out, you click this one button up here on the toolbar, Convert to URAR. It's going to take all that data and then dump it into the full-blown dynamic UAD 3.6 report. Then the other thing that you can do, so that's three, and then four is going to be staying on the clipboard. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that people use their clipboard, but I know that there are people out there that are saying that you're gonna pull that clipboard out of my cold dead hands. So for those of you who are like that, we do have two things for you. We have the paper property data collection worksheet and a checklist. Now the worksheet is basically a printed version of this right here. So when I open that up, this is not meant to be filled out in Appraise It Pro. This is meant for you to actually print the report. You print this out and you put it on your clipboard and you take it in the field and you use it for taking your notes. I'm going to warn you, it's 15 pages. So keep that in mind. But if you do want to use your clipboard for data collection, this will help you out. You can print it out, 15 pages, staple it, take it into the field with you. The other is a little bit more manageable, I think, and that is the checklist. So I'll show you that real quick. The checklist also is meant to be printed. It is 2 pages or 1 sheet of paper, double-sided if you have a fancy printer like I do that can do duplexing. And I envision that people would laminate this, take it to Staples or FedEx office or wherever, and you can print it out and then you can laminate it and put it on your clipboard and maybe use a little permanent marker or like a dry erase marker and check all of these things off. You can also just print the paper each time and check it off as well. But this will make sure that when you are collecting data free form in the field, that you'll be able to use this checklist in order to do that. So those are the 4 ways that we're going to have that you can do things in the field. I don't think you should be using the clipboard and writing it on paper, but if you wish to do that, we want to, make something for y'all as well. So for those that want to use the digital method on an app, we got you covered. And if you want to keep using it in your clipboard, we also got you covered.
Matt, this is great stuff. Lots of versatility. We have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Jonathan Asker, unmute yourself. Jonathan is asking about the ability to create a bifurcated or hybrid type appraisal.
I am not 100% on how that, you can in UAD 2.6. I will confess, I don't necessarily know the answer to that for 3.6. I believe there is a section in there that allows you to, and then you put who did what but I don't off the top of my head remember where it is and how it works. One thing you can do is I definitely recommend everyone go to fanniemae.com/UAD and download this PDF. It is the Appendix F-1. If you don't have this on your desktop, get it. Completely free. Download it from fanniemae.com/UAD. It's about halfway down the report. You'll see all of the different PDFs you can download. This is one that you should keep on your desktop for when you are filling out your first few UADs. So if I open that up and I go to search, now this thing is 375 pages. So you're not going to want to read through this or print it out. This is for searching through. And I use Foxit PDF reader. It's a free PDF reader. I highly recommend it. It's an amazing product. Doesn't cost you a penny. But any way that you're reading through PDFs, if you're using Adobe Acrobat, whatever, it's going to have a find box, or you can do Control F. And so I can do hybrid and see what it comes up with. Hybrid appraisal, desktop effective date. Yeah. So there's going to be a couple of different sections where it's going to talk about hybrid for hybrid appraisals. So the O2 assignment information. So there's a bunch of different stuff in here. Definitely, you're going to want to do your CE. And I would say ask the CE exactly how that's going to be handled. But the Appendix F1 will tell you, where you need to do it. The Appendix F1 has been very helpful. We're going to be taking a lot of that information and putting it into Appraise It Pro. Let me get this open back up. Over here on the right-hand side. So right now, responses is being shown, but you can also use this little tab to look at help. We've already got a lot of it in there. Whenever you go to one of these fields, it'll give you information. This is taken straight from Appendix F1, where it'll tell you what is supposed to go into that field. All of this is not in there yet, but it will be within a month.
Great question, Jonathan. It does appear now, I'm from the software coding that's happening with 3.6. It does appear that it's bifurcated, or what the GSEs call now the hybrids or the desktops are accounted for in 3.6 then.
Oh yeah. And because that's the future. I mean, that's what they're expecting to happen. So yeah, absolutely. The UAD 3.6 spec was designed after that became a thing in appraising. So they've definitely accounted for it. Where specifically it is in the report, I don't know off the top of my head, but the Appendix F1, you can use that and find out pretty quickly where it is.
Maybe you can follow up for us afterwards.
Oh yeah, and remember, where's my stuff? Honestly, I have access to the GSEs and I have access to our forms designer. Send me an email, matt@sfrep.com. I will be happy to get an answer for that and get back to you.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Matt. Great.
I don't want to pull a White House press secretary on everybody, but I will find that out for you. Any other questions? Cool. And if you'll give me 3 seconds here. It's a little warm in here, so I'm going to turn on my fan. Okay. So what I want to do next is I want to jump over to the subject property section, because this is where the smarts of the UAD 3.6 really start to come in. And what do I mean by that? Well, we're not using AI necessarily in doing this presentation of the report to you, but the report's still smart in the way that it morphs into what you need. So I talked about that earlier. And what I mean by that is if I start typing in so this is the house I grew up in. If anybody wants to go and look it up, I don't live there anymore. We'll do the alternate physical address. No. Mecklenburg. So for right now, the report is you're just filling out the initial information. This next field right here is where the report starts to get an idea of what type of report you're doing. So if I select that it is attached, now the report knows that I'm dealing with a duplex, triplex, quadplex, whatever, or I'm dealing with a townhome, or I'm dealing with a condo. Doesn't know which at this point, but it knows I'm not doing a single family residential. So I keep on going here. I check boxes. By the way, UAD 3.6, lots of check boxes, lots of pull downs, lots of date pickers. The filling out of the report is actually easier because you don't have to worry about all these cryptic abbreviations. You're filling out human readable information. So in a lot of ways, they've made it so that you can actually get through it pretty quickly because you're just answering check boxes, yes or no, true or false, etc. So planned unit development, yes, is the property in the project. And by the way, notice that when I hit that yes, Over here, it added the project information sheet to the report because prior to me checking that checkbox, that didn't need to be in the report. So that's the dynamic nature of the report. It didn't have to have that section in there until I checked that. And we make it bold so that you know that it just got added to the report. Is the property in the project? Yes, it is. Is it a condominium? When I say yes, now the report knows that it is going to be a condo report. So elsewhere in the report, behind the scenes, off camera, things have changed in the report to only show you information or questions that pertain to a condo report. So if I come over into the sales comparable section, only sections in here for the subject and the different comparables. I'll add some comparables here. Only sections that pertain to a condo will actually be shown here. Okay. Now, the real place that I can really show you what a dynamic report is really like in Appraise It Pro. And by the way, if you're an a la mode user, a la mode win total interface looks dead on almost exactly how ours does. So this is going to pertain a lot. This is the way that they're presenting their software as well. So if I come over here to market, we'll do sales contract. This is a good example of the dynamic nature of the report. Right now, there's no sales contract section in this report. So what does it show me? It shows me, is there a sales contract? Yes or no? I have no checked. That's it. So this would not be printed out and included in the final report because there is no sales contract. Obviously, we show it to you here so that, it's a user interface element, so you can add the sales contract if you wish. But if you have it no here, then that's the end of it. The second that I say yes, now things start to fill in. As I keep checking these checkboxes, once again, lots of checkboxes, lots of pull-down menus, you'll see that things start to fill in. So I can come up here for contract price, put 500,000. Contract date, I can either type it in UAD format or I can use a date picker here. Let's just arbitrarily say that it was March 4th. And then the transfer terms. Once again, it's a pull down. So I can come down here and I can select short sale. Total sales concessions. Now, they want you to type out what the sales concessions are. Obviously, that is not enough space for you usually to be able to type out your sales concessions. So as I start to type things in here, what happens, because this is a dynamic report, this section just keeps getting bigger. And it will keep going as long as you need to put stuff in there. Now, there is technically a limit to how much text you can put in there, but they tried to make that limit so large that you're not going to run into it. Famous last words, but that's what the GSEs say. Same thing with the sales contract analysis. You're probably going to need to put more than this one line in there. Same thing. That's just going to keep getting bigger as you need to fill in more text. And then finally, here you have sales contract exhibits. There's lots of places in the report where you can put exhibit pages. Now, let's get technical for just a second. They are meaning for these reports to be processed by a computer for the most part. The computer cannot read your PDF that you're going to put in here. The GSEs do not want you putting 30-page PDFs in here. Any type of exhibit that goes in here, because there aren't addendums anymore, really. Any type of exhibit that goes in here has to be converted into a JPEG image. Now, a JPEG is a compressed image format. It's what your camera takes when you're taking photos on a camera or on your phone. A JPEG image is a compressed format. If you put a white page with black text in here, there's not a whole lot of compression you can do on a white background with black text. So the more pages that you put in here, the bigger your report's going to start ballooning out. So you don't really want to put more than 1, 2, maybe 3 pages as an exhibit. Remember that those exhibits aren't really going to be used in the decision-making process unless a human happens to read through this report. Okay. So really the only people that are probably going to see that are going to be maybe the loan officer at the bank and maybe the buyer or the seller of the report. So just keep that in mind. When you create your report, your UAD 3.6 report for delivery to the AMC or to the lender, it is going to spit out a zip file. The zip's going to be a container. We all know what zip files are. They're compressed files. Inside of that zip container, you're going to have your JPEG images, whether they are photos or whether they are printed documents or PDFs, all going to be JPEGs. You're going to have your Mismo XML file, and then you're going to have the PDF. All of that's going to be put into that zip file, and that's what you're going to upload to your portal. Okay? So don't put 50-page PDFs into reports. That's the long and short of everything. But if I do need to put, let's say, a printed document in here, I can press that to open up, and then I can browse to it over here on the left-hand side. And if need be, I can copy, like I can scan something in on my scanner as a JPEG or use my phone. That's what everybody's doing nowadays. Or I can, and we can show you how to do this, but you can browse a PDF in here. It'll be converted to a JPEG, or maybe you copied the page into a JPEG from your PDF reader, however you did it. If you have it right here, I just have a sample page of text. I can click and drag it over here. And then I could put some information here. Always use best fit, but you can change that if you wish. Or I could paste it from clipboard, or I could browse in a PDF. And then once I have that in there, it will say one image. Now, one of these quality of life improvements that we're going to be making to our software, within a month or so, you'll actually have thumbnails that will show up down here instead of it just saying one image. And that'll make it a lot easier for you to glance to be able to see what you need to fill out. Now, I want to get to questions. We're getting up to like 42 minutes here, so I want to skip ahead a little bit. I'm going to open up our single-family residential scenario. In Appraiser Pro, we do give you a bunch of different scenarios that are pre-filled out. They're the scenarios that the GSEs gave us that we used in testing, and they used as test reports to certify us. So we include those in Appraiser Pro for you, and you can open them up and you can see what a pre-filled out actual report looks like. So it's got all the data in there filled out. I'm going to use that to show you over here as the sales comparables. We still have the grid. It's still a thing. We are launching out of the gate with side-by-side comparables. I think the only other people that are doing that is Bradford. I know that Alamode will have it eventually, but they're looking at more like the summer or late spring before they have it in their software. We're launching with it. Basically, you have all of your different, your grid. Your grid's bigger, obviously, but here is your grid. Have to wait for it to fill in. There we go. And if I want to add additional comparables, I just click on add comparable, add comparable, add comparable. If I'm jumping around the report, there could be a chance that one of my data points or my data sections in here is not actually there and I'm looking for it. If that happens, you can use this little pull down menu behind the head, right below the header, and you can manually add them in. But unless you jump to the sales comparable section, these should already be in here and be partially filled out because you would have done them earlier in the report. And then if I want to actually just go ahead and deliver this report, I just go to orders and I select create Mismo XML. I choose what I want to include, where I want it to spit it out. It's going to be a zip file, as you can see right there. And it's also going to spit out the PDF, the human readable version, right next to it. And I click on validate. When I click on validate, it's going to run it through our local validator here on your computer. We are not cloud-based. This is an application-based software. So we're not hosting your files, and you don't have to worry about us, hoovering out data and storing it and building giant databases. We don't care about your data. Your data is your data. We do support cloud storage. But we do third-party cloud storage. So you can use Dropbox, you can use OneDrive, you can use Google Drive, whatever you want. We fully support that with our tech support.
Hey, Matt, would you expand a little on that? Because during these tech talks, we've had a couple of other vendors come through.
Sure.
Explain the difference between cloud-based, application-based, who actually hosts this, what happens when a web server goes down, like that debacle with ACI a year or so ago.
Right.
I'm not technical like you are, but if anyone else on this call would like to know this, raise your hand.
Yeah.
I do. So we have a few, so go.
Sure. So, there are four primary software vendors in this space. There's SFREP, Bradford. So SFREP and Bradford, we're actually good friends with each other, and we work on projects together because we're the two of the four that are still independent. We're not owned by some big conglomerate like ACI and Alamode. ACI and Alamode being the other two. So there's Bradford, us, ACI, Alamode. Then you have your startups, Ivory, Praise, IT. Yeah, no, there's a couple of them. Ivory, I think, is kind of the biggest one that's a startup. So ACI, Bradford, and Ivory are the three that are cloud-based for UAD 3.6. Now, that comes with some upsides. You can use Bradford's Nighthawk, or you can use ACI software whenever they get it done. You can use it on any platform. You can use it on a Mac. You can use it on a PC. You could use it on Linux if you wanted to. You can use it on a Chromebook. But it comes with some downsides too. If your internet goes wonky or goes out, you're not working. That's it. Also, if they have a problem that they deploy, it gets deployed to everybody, and there's no, it's hard to take it back. Also, your stuff is being stored on a server somewhere, and you are being reliant on that company to have good cybersecurity to keep all of your stuff safe. Obviously, it's going to be safe because of encryption when you're actually using it and entering it, but we're talking about data storage. Things happen. Meteorites fall from the heavens and hit data centers, or in the case of Amazon Web Services, rockets from Iran hit data centers in Dubai and knock out big swaths of Amazon Web Services (AWS) for big chunks of the planet. That's what actually happened to Freedom Appraised, another cloud-based provider of software. They were hit by that. So there are some downsides. Also, you have to upload every one of your photos, and then you got to put all that stuff in there. Alamode's WinTotal and us are application based. Now, Alamode does have a cloud-based version as well. It's not as fleshed out as their application-based version is. Because Alamode and us were probably the two most modern code bases, we were able to incorporate the UAD 3.6 into our existing software. That's going to have two big pluses for you. Your old software, your old reports, your GP stuff, your non-lender forms, all of your bank forms, all that stuff is in one place in the same software. You pay one bill, you get everything. If you use Ivory's got a slick thing. I'm not going to lie to you. Ivory is slick. What it's doing a lot of AI stuff. However, they only have the UAD 3.6 reports. So that means you're going to have to pay for Ivory, plus you're going to have to maintain your old software for all your old data and your older forms. Same thing with Bradford. You're going to have their Nighthawk, but then you're going to have to go back to your clip forms if you want to do any of your general purpose forms. If you want to do some of those old bank forms, you got to maintain two separate types of software. Same thing with ACI. So there are some downsides to being cloud-based. One of the things that I love, everything's in one place with our software. Plus, if your internet goes down, you can still work on your report. Now, there's certain things you won't be able to do. You won't be able to do your mapping. You won't be able to use Spark, but you will be able to continue writing your report. Even if you're on a cruise or if you're on an airplane, although most airplanes nowadays give you free Wi-Fi, but let's say you're flying Frontier and you don't get Wi-Fi, you can still work on your appraisals on your laptop without being connected to the internet.
Wow. Thank you for making us all smarter than we were an hour ago.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just say, if you guys got questions, fire them at me, even if it's not about my software. Like I said, I go to all of these, like we're doing the AXE appraisal show in Seattle next month. Then I'm going to be, where am I going to be? In May, I got to go to Chicago for the UAD 3.6 boot camp. We're going to be down in Mississippi for an event in Jackson, Mississippi. We're going to be in Texas for the Association of Texas Appraisers. We're going to be all over the place. I go to all these shows and I do them with Joel Baker. I do them with Jeff Bradford. I do them with the folks at ACI. So I know what everybody's doing for the most part. Of course, take anything I say with a grain of salt. I don't work for them and I'm a competitor to them, but I'll do my best to answer any questions you guys have.
Anyone with a question for Matt?
In the meantime, I'll put up my.
Matt, does your software offer something similar to Spark, similar to Nighthawk,
Yeah,
with market analysis?
yeah,
Pulled in.
we have like as part of Appraise It Pro, we have some basic data crunching software, but Spark and Data Master do a much better job. And I usually tell people if that's your ball, if that's your bag and you really like that kind of stuff, you're going to want to get Spark or Data Master, and we will be integrating with them. We also integrate with a third party company called Profit.ai, and that's actually their web address too. And they spell profit weirdly, so you know how startups are. Profet.ai. Great piece of software. What it does is it has a backdoor into your local MLS and to your county records. It aids you in finding your listings and your comps, and it will pull the data and the photos in from the MLS, and it'll also show you what the county records say about that particular address. And then you can put them up side by side and you can reconcile any differences. And then once you've got, shows it to you on a map. And then when you have chosen your comps or your listings, you can then pop them into the appraisal for you. So things like that, we usually we're the first and as yet only software vendor that has fully integrated with the Solomon adjustment calculator. They've got a really cool number cruncher. I'm a words person. I'm not a number person. But Solomon adjustment calculator, I would Google them, see what they've got. Great service that we also integrate with.
So we've got a question from an appraisal firm wondering about working with this in an office with multiple appraisers. Can I start a report and share it with the appraiser?
Absolutely. So a la Mode and I think ACI all charge you for a server license. We do not do that. The best way to do this is to have a file server in your office, and then everybody stores the databases and stores their reports on a network drive. And then if that's the case, you can most certainly start a report and then close out of it, and somebody else opens it up and they can start working on it as well. You can't both work on it at the same time because you're going to get collisions. And we lock it so that you can't, if you're working on a report, somebody else can't open it up. Okay. You can also store your stuff in the cloud on one of the cloud services. And if you have multiple people in different locations, you can use like say Dropbox you can start a report, close out of it. You got to wait maybe 20 to 30 seconds just so that everything syncs up, and then somebody else can then open up that report and use it. So you can use that as kind of like a network drive on the internet instead of it being local. But yeah, we fully support that with our tech support. They can help you in setting any of that up. And, we're our tech support. You don't have to wait in line. Generally, when you call, they pick up, and they do not say, "Oh, well, you've got XYZ set up. We're not going to help you with that." They'll help you with anything. And if it means that they're going to spend 45 minutes on the phone fixing something, that's what they're going to do.
Great. For some of our there are a few larger appraisal firms here on the call, and this was from the appraisers group. So they could call you. You left your number, Matt.
Yeah, absolutely.
And talk about what they're currently using in their offices for backup data storage and things like that, and you might be able to suggest some options to them.
One of the great things about being with and I've been with this company for 20 years, if that says a little bit about how good this company is. Just from a worker standpoint, they pay 100% of my healthcare. They care about their employees. I'm having to deal with some health issues with my mom and my dad, and I had to move him into my house here with me. And my company has been fully supportive and letting me take half days when I need to, take days off when I need to. It's a great company to work for. It's why I've been with them for 20 years. Most of our employees have been here at least 10 years. Great company to work for, and it's a great company to be with. One of the cool things about being in a small company is that I'm giving you my contact info. You can call me and I'm always going to be a straight shooter with you. I have multiple times recently told customers or prospective customers, you know what? I don't think we're right for you. I think you should go talk to Alamode. I think you may want to talk to Bradford. They may have a better solution for you. You may want to go talk to Freedom Appraise, Andy Aldridge over at Freedom Appraise. I'm going to be a straight shooter with you. There is a chance that we may not be the right one for you, and I'll tell you if we're not. But
That's
absolutely give me a call and we can talk and we can see if we're going to be a right fit.
that's fantastic. Matt, how long does it take to do one of these?
That's the $1 million question everybody asks. I think the best answer I can give you to that is expect your first few appraisals when you're doing UAD 3.6 to take you at least twice as long. And I'm talking when you're out doing the inspection, when you're coming back, when you're filling out the report, when you're, getting everything organized. First few times it's going to take at the least twice as long. Sometimes it might take 3 times as long. But as with anything, it's kind of like when you get a new computer, you're making a lot of typos on the keyboard because you're not used to that keyboard, but then muscle memory kind of takes over. It's going to be the same thing with this. It's going to be the same thing you guys went through back in 2010, 2011 when we introduced the original UAD. Because you have all these stupid abbreviations and you had to, I mean, that was worse, in my opinion. I was around for that. Your first 3, 4, 5 appraisals are going to take considerably longer. When you get to about 5 or 6, maybe into your 7th appraisal, I think you'll find that the whole process is going to shrink down and only take marginally longer than your current appraisals do. There's going to be a little bit more information you're going to have to collect in the field. People are freaking out about the whole I have to measure the height of the threshold of the door from the ground, and they freak out about that. It's literally right here under, is it site or dwelling? I think it's dwelling. Let me check it real quick. I think it's dwelling. Yeah. Front door elevation. You only have to get it within like a foot to 2 feet. Like they don't want it to be feet and inches and you have to have it be exact and you got to use your disto and fire it at the ground. What they essentially want to know is it going to be prone to flooding? Is this property like out at the beach and it's up on stilts, or is it by a river and it's up on stilts? That's what they want to know. It's for flood mitigation. People are freaking out about this question. It literally, you got to get it within 2 feet. And it's a pull down. So don't fret over that kind of stuff. A lot of the stuff you're going to be collecting is stuff you probably already were collecting while you were out there. You were just putting it in your work file and you weren't actually using it. So I think you're very quickly going to figure out that it's not going to take as long as you think. And it's maybe if you were able to crank out an appraisal report by putting in, say, 300 person hours, not 300, 3 person hours, 4 person hours, expect it to take 3.5 person hours, or maybe 3.25 once you get 6 or 7 of these under your belt. Because remember, when you get about 6, 7, 8 of these in, that's when you'll start reusing some of that information. You'll start cloning a report, or you'll start reusing comps, and that's going to make things go a lot faster as well.
Excuse me, Matt. Matt, the goal's to review by computer. What's this do to the sketching?
That's a good question. I don't think that I don't think the computer processing part of this is going to take the sketch into account necessarily. I think that's going to be more when The way I envision this probably happening is the way they were doing the old UAD, especially at first. They're not going to be using AI. I think AI is definitely going to creep into this. But for right now, they're going to be using computers to read the XML. The sketch is not in the XML, but the data from the sketch is. So the things like the square footage on the first floor, square footage on the second floor, that's what it really needs to know in processing the loan and the application, everything with this appraisal. But if need be, it can kick it out, and then a human's going to go in and start reading the PDF. But that Mismo XML, just like the UAD 2.6, the data that the ultimate data that comes from the sketch, meaning the square footage here and there of the first floor, second floor, outbuildings, patios, all that kind of stuff, that's already going to be in there. The sketch itself, they may start processing that with AI soon, but for right now, it's just going to be in case a human actually looks at the report.
So,
And
Alan Sullivan, what's your question?
say that again.
What's your question, Alan?
Okay, so currently I use Cubicasa and Sparks, and I, upload their graphs and the sketch and that kind of thing. Would I upload that as
an exhibit page? Yeah, it'll go in as an exhibit
page, because while you have the Instaplan, that's a 3D sketch, which
it's a 3D sketch, but it gets compressed down to a 2D sketch for the sketch that goes in the report. But the 3D-ness of it is used in case your lender needs to know the volume of the house. That's something a lender can actually ask for. They could also ask for what the ceiling heights are predominantly in the house. They could also ask for, I'm envisioning when I used to live up in the mountains of North Carolina, and a lot of houses on the side of a mountain would have these giant 2-story picture windows, open area. That's going to affect the value of a home. So a lender may ask for that. So that's where the thing about the whole volume or the square footage of all the windows, that house, that's the house where they want to know that. And so these scanning software, they're going to be capturing the size of the windows, and they'll be able to spit out that data point for you.
And would that, if I went with Instaplan, would that integrate directly into your software?
Absolutely. Instaplan and Cubicasa. So Cubicasa is the direct competitor of Instaplan or vice versa. What I will tell you is that Instaplan uses AI to get the data, all that processed data to you immediately. Whereas Cubicasa, and a lot of people don't know this, the reason it takes 24 hours to get it back to you is because they send your information overseas, I think to Bangladesh, somewhere like that. And it gets processed by humans, and then they spit it back to you. Basically, Instaplan uses AI to accomplish that same feat. And that way they're able to get your information to you immediately.
Okay, so, Matt, you could still utilize Cubicasa?
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And upload it as an exhibit in what format?
JPEGs.
JPEGs.
Yeah, just put it in as a JPEG. There are two types of attachments of images to a report. The first one is an image box, which is what you see here. Yeah. So I could double click here and house photos. I could put like I don't know, I'll put a house in there. So there, I can browse a house picture in there for the dwelling exterior. The other way are those exhibit pages. Those exhibits, so add, remove image so dwelling exterior exhibits. This would not be this. You could put additional photos of the exterior in here if you wanted to, but also if you had, I don't know, a page of text that supports something on here, you could put it in here as well. So that's kind of the two places, but everything is going to be saved as a JPEG. Yeah.
Okay, so Dory, before we wrap up,
yes,
it's incumbent upon me to make a commercial, which is we have the class on the new UR/AR coming up on April 21st and 22nd. It's 2 mornings, 3.5 hours each morning. Gives you 7 hours of both residential and non-residential credit for those of you who are in Massachusetts. And we'd really encourage you to take it because it does go in depth into a lot of the areas that Matt has been describing here. It's great to see it and see how you're inputting it. And I love how you have things color coded, like you got to fill out this field. This is the active field that you clicked in. I'm reading your little legend down on the bottom right there. And that's great. But understanding better what it is that you're putting in. This is a education program that was actually developed by Fannie and Freddie, and they are really looking for all appraisers to take this. And I think we're beginning to hear more and more that lenders are looking for their appraisers, as well as AMCs are looking for their appraisers to complete this class. So we do have it available, like I said, April 21st and 22nd, 3.5 hours each morning, 8:30 to noon. And then we will be scheduling more offerings of it for May, June, and July. And by then, you're probably going to be doing UAD 3.6 appraisals anyway, but it would be good to have this foundation under your belt. So that is my mandatory commercial for the program. Matt, I did have one more question about your software, and that has to do with the business management aspects. I'm assuming that, well, I won't say that. Does the software include things like invoicing, managing a firm where there's multiple appraisers, status reports on those appraisals and so forth, so that whether it's Rich or Jonathan or somebody, they can sort of see where different assignments are standing?
So we do have an invoice that you can include along. It'll be put into the digital version of the report as an exhibit, and then it will go into the PDF at the end, or wherever. Well, it has to be at the end, essentially as an exhibit page. Now, as far as office management software is a weak point with us. It is the next big project we are going to undertake after all of this UAD 3.6 stuff is done. We are also working on a partnership with the folks at ANOW. ANOW did try to come up with a competitor form filling software, and it just didn't really go anywhere with them. But they have a really stellar app and web based office management suite. So we're going to be partnering with them and having connections in with them, and getting a little bit more of that synergy. I know everybody loves that word, going on there with them on that. But yes, we will be having a full office management suite. For right now, most of our users are using QuickBooks or something like that, or they're using ANOW. ANOW does have an existing connection in with us. That's where I would generally tell people to go for something like that. But within the next year to year and a half, we're going to have our own in-house one as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And to piggyback on what Stephen said, do your UAD 3.6 CE, do it with them. That'd be a great selection, or with somebody that's doing them. I've done 4 of these 7-hour courses I always go to them just to keep myself refreshed on it. When they do them at AX, like the one in Seattle, they did AX last year in San Antonio, or the 2 Vegas shows in Las Vegas, or they're also doing one at the UAD 3.6 boot camp in Chicago coming up in late April or early May. I can't remember. Look it up, UAD 3.6 boot camp Chicago, and you can get all the information on that. But definitely do it with your own organization here. You need to do that CE, and he is 100% right. Steven's 100% right. I'm getting contacted by my customers who are like, hey, I have this AMC is asking for a certificate saying that I can do UAD 3.6 reports. What are they talking about? They're talking about a certificate that you're going to get when you complete one of these UAD 3.6 7-hour training classes. So absolutely do that. I cannot stress that enough. You need to do one of these classes. Take 7 hours out of your life and do it.
Thank
and
you,
I will
Matt.
and I will add that we have 3 of the greatest instructors going. We have Jonathan, who's on this call, Preston Pruitt, and we have Ken Dix. And And it's 2 instructors per class, so you don't have to listen to one person kind of talking for 7 hours, and they really interact well with each other. So there's a lot to learn there with our classes. So
Hopefully my southern accent didn't come through too much during this. I am born and raised in North Carolina, here in Charlotte. So, but everybody tells me I don't have too much of an accent, so hopefully it doesn't come through.
Matt, don't worry about it. I'll start talking in Greek if it makes you feel better.
There you go. I did. I think I sprinkled in a couple of y'alls there, but I mean, come on, that's a transaction. Or
Well,
what do you call them?
I found this absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Matt. Great
Oh, of course.
information.
And
Thank
hey, once again, guys, get your pen and paper out. Please contact me. Any questions about my software or questions about some other software, or if you just want to shoot the you know what, give me a call or text me. I love you to text, and send me an email as well.
Thank you to the audience too. Good question.
Thank you.
Great. we hope this was very helpful.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
Great job.
Thanks everyone for coming on board.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Steve.